Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back to our regular community. My goal is to share my decades of trading experience to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, and also gain real wealth in the process. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently trading at 45,885, down 2.54%. Ethereum 3470, down less than 1%. I've hidden knowledge gems throughout this video. Unless you watch to the end, you'll miss them. See how many you can find. Rule 174, the T-cube method, trend, timing, and trigger. We're going to look at trend now, using the KS process. The first thing we do is look at KS wealth analysis. Now, why do we look at this? This is literally your trend in consideration of wealth. What are you focusing on? Is it just money? And we know money is security and a critically important thing, but are you focusing on the other components of wealth, real wealth? Like, for example, inner and outer peace, fulfillment and meaning, purpose, fearlessness, empathy and love. There's so many different things that we can also focus on the journey towards wealth. We in this community focus on all of them, all of the things that make life truly worth living. John C. Maxwell said it really well. Life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you. Edward Markham added to that, choices are the hinges of destiny. What a beautiful quote. And it's no wonder he was Poet Laureate of Oregon. He certainly had a way with words. Choices are indeed the hinges of destiny. They forge our path every second of the day. Real wealth starts with the choice to actually want it. Real wealth is a very beautiful thing. Real wealth is far more than money. It's about also kindness and authenticity, integrity, decency, courage, honor, all those incredible things that go into make a very worthwhile life. In the history of the world, there will never be another person like you. You are completely unique. You have a mission to accomplish in this life, a mission that is important. It is revealed to you as you progress through life. Everybody's mission is really important. If you can embrace more of real wealth inside your life, that journey will be a far more meaningful and fulfilling journey. Over time, you'll get more of a sense of who you are, and you'll just naturally attract the right things into your life. The more authentic you can be, the kinder you can be, the more courage you have. These are all fantastic choices to make, and we literally make those choices on a second-by-second basis. I'd like to thank the very many beautiful community members who have reached out and bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. Thank you so much, everyone. It's really much appreciated. The next thing we do is look at investment substitutability. We compare across three fundamental asset classes: stocks, precious metals, and crypto. The S&P 500, the proxy for stocks, up 34% in the past year. Poor old gold not doing too well, down 9% over the past 12 months. Bitcoin up 347% over the past year. When people are new to crypto, they can see incredible returns, but unfortunately those incredible returns hide volatility, and a lot of volatility. That's why it's incredibly important to look at the Bitcoin trend, where we are. Fidelity Investments put out a very interesting paper about Bitcoin. What we see here are the percentage of times that we have particular drawdowns. When we look at the Bitcoin drawdowns, they occur very, very frequently. The same types of drawdowns in the stock market occur quite infrequently. This is why in the stock market, people talk about a 10% or more reduction in price as a correction, and a bear market 20% or more. That's every other day in crypto, or every other week. Crypto is incredibly volatile. But this volatility actually brings a lot of rewards. If you go back to the dawn of Bitcoin, it basically started from zero value and has come up and up and up to what it is now. Right now, Bitcoin is currently trading at $45,777. Just think of that. Just say, let's say that it started at 1 cent. 1 cent to $45,700. Whoa, what an increase. When people hear things like that, they say, oh, it must be a bubble. It can't last. The thing with Bitcoin, it's the foundation for the next evolution in the internet. It's almost exactly like what people said in the dawn of the internet. I'll talk more about that later, but we are expecting ever increasing prices for Bitcoin over time. Why is this the case? Because there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. There are a few more reasons than that, but it is a scarce resource, scarce asset. Looking at the KS model, which is a crypto technical trading model based on institutional price psychology, the greatest contribution of this model to the crypto space is dividing psychological segments in the Bitcoin market structure and segments. What we see is the sunshine of the bull market. The sunshine is all about prices going up, and they will blow off exponentially at some stage. We're about here in the current cycle. This action here is about this action here. We're just before the peak. And when I say just before the peak, I don't mean it's tomorrow. It's going to play out over a couple of months or longer. It realistically depends on how the price action moves. There's a lot of moving parts in the crypto market, as we've seen just yesterday. But the important thing to understand is we must always compare the sunshine of the bull market to the sunshine of past bull markets. If we compare it to the darkness of the bear market, in the bear market, prices decreased by 85%. That's a little bit ugly. Comparing optimism to pessimism is not the best thing to do from a coherent mathematical perspective. Sometimes it pays to zoom out. This is Bitcoin's price action on a 12-monthly basis. We can see the different phases in the market. We're at phase 1. We're literally just getting started. Every time we get to phase 1, people say, no, it can't go any further, it's over. It's just normal for those kind of conversations in the market. That's why we need to use a lot of technical analysis and also statistical probabilities and forecasting. It's really important. If we zoom into the current price action, we can see the sell-off has been quite dramatic. Now we are anticipating through the on-chain metrics an increase in price. These things can be hard to understand, especially when people come from a very traditional non-volatile background, such as the stock market. And when I say that, that raises a few eyebrows because the stock market is viewed as incredibly volatile, and quite seriously it is, but compared to crypto, it is not. The first thing you would say, Ken, is this price action realistic, or what's happening? Are we going to go up? What's happened in past cycles around this time? I'm glad you asked. Let's have a look. Going back to the 2016 halving cycle bull run, this is the psychological sunshine of the bull market run. You can see that I mentioned before that we were in this zone. There was a 18.31% decrease in price after a very large rally of 60.55%. What happened next? nearly an 87% increase, followed by a 20% decrease, followed by a 38% increase, followed by a 40% decrease, and then a 38% decrease, then a 14% decrease, then a 66% increase. You get the idea. This is such a volatile market. It's always really, really important to get your nerves into a position where you can tolerate a 20, 30, 40, even 50% reduction in price. This is just crypto being crypto. Naughty crypto. If it only just went up, that would be much nicer for everyone. But unfortunately, it doesn't do that. Crypto has a number of properties, especially Bitcoin. It's exponential in nature. It's not linear. That always causes a lot of concern for many people. Exponential thinking is not normal thinking. But however, we learn exponentially. Anyway, let's get back to it. It is decentralized. It's outside government control. It bypasses the financial system. It banks the unbanked. Mark Moss recently put a video out on, well, basically a documentary on the Bitcoin beach. Wow, what a fantastic thing Mark and his group did. It's just so beautiful to see. I reached out to Mark and I let him know how impressed and fantastic stuff. Please have a look at Mark's video. It is really good. Mark is doing great work in the crypto space. That's Mark Moss. I'll make sure that I put a link to Mark's video in the video description. Another thing to note is that Bitcoin is actually the foundation of the Internet of Money. It facilitates trustless commerce, and the alts build out on the cryptographic ecosystem that Bitcoin lays in. I'll show you a little bit more about how the internet grew in comparison to how crypto is growing now. When we look at this technological adoption curve, we can see in white this line here from 1992 to 2006. It's the total global internet users line growing in millions. The really interesting thing, I owned and ran an internet service provider, kind of like a Coinbase, if you like, for crypto, but it was a provider like America Online, where people would hook into all my banks and banks of dial-up modems. In 1993, a really interesting thing has come out, and I just wanted to explain it. There's just a little bit of news about the Securities Exchange Commission threatening to sue Coinbase over crypto yield programs. What this is all about is quite interesting. I've actually living through the whole internet revolution, literally right from the start. I'll just explain what happened there. Returning to 1993, basically the governments around the world wanted to hold internet service providers legally liable for the communications that particular users sent to each other. They were worried about defamation and all sorts of other things, and they attempted to impose very old laws to try to stop the internet. They literally tried to stop the internet, exactly like they're trying to stop crypto now. As Mark Moss said in his documentary, good luck, it's not going to happen, and it won't happen for a large number of reasons. One very important reason is speed. Everything is about speed. If it can be done more quickly and more cheaply, it gets people's attention. But down in 1993, the government was bringing out legislation in Parliament to say, you as an internet service provider will be held legally responsible for the communication by email between your members or from your members to external sites. How insane. It's just like the infrastructure bill on the miners. It's just the same kind of craziness that governments go through. They don't like new innovations. Unfortunately, if they embrace them, they would be far better off. But so many governments are very short-sighted. The good thing is that not all government officials are backwards in their approach. If we look at the New York City election for mayor coming up, it's really between two people, Eric and Curtis. Curtis is saying that he wants to make New York City the most cryptocurrency-friendly city in the nation. Property taxes, fines, and fees will be payable in crypto. He'll open more crypto ATMs and incentivize businesses to accept crypto. I'd just like to thank Tessa, who put me onto this. We've got such a beautiful community. I do a lot of research before every episode. When people reach out to me, I'm so appreciative. Being my eyes and ears out there is so wonderful. I really thank you for that. You can send me anything, anytime. You can direct message me on Twitter or email me or just reach out. Anyway, there's so many ways to reach me. Eric Adams, the other contender for the New York City mayor position, is talking about how he wants to be the center of cybersecurity and the center of Bitcoin, as well as a number of other innovations, both forward-thinking individuals. That's fantastic, and more people are getting into this new way of thinking. But unfortunately, not all. Elizabeth Warren has just recently brought out the, how can I say it nicely, the concept of Bitcoin being an energy-absorbing thing. It's really not what people are actually making it out to be. And I'll go through the numbers, of course. But the most important thing is that people are grabbing hold of a narrative and losing context. It's a little bit disappointing that this is happening. I guess there's always reasons for it, but they're not helping anyone, especially themselves. Maybe just one more thing. The Ukrainian parliament passed a law today that legalizes and regulates Bitcoin in the country. That's fantastic. A total of 276 lawmakers supported the law, with only 6 against it. Now let's have a look at Elizabeth Warren's comment. If we go across to the NASDAQ, how much energy does Bitcoin really consume? This was done in early May, just to say how crazy this stuff is. Everyone from Elon Musk to Janet Yellen is suddenly worried about Bitcoin's energy usage. If we actually go down a bit, we can see that the comparative energy expenditure of Bitcoin mining compared to gold mining is substantially less. And if we look at the banking system is utterly out of control. If you think about it, banking, gold mining, they're all about value transfer. Bitcoin is a solution for that. How does it compete? It's very low end of the scale. Yet people choose to bring out certain statistics that don't allow others to have a balanced opinion. Let's turn our attention to the crypto stocks and ETFs. Comparing Bitcoin to public companies with Bitcoin exposure, over the past 14 days, we can see Hut 8 Mining doing really well, out in front, up 45.66%, followed by Galaxy Digital, GLXY, up 19.82%. In third spot, ADE, the Bitcoin Group, SE, and then going down in order, Bitfarms, Hive Blockchain, Bit Digital, Coinbase Global, Silvergate Capital, Marathon Digital, Voyager Digital, Argo Blockchain, MicroStrategy, and Riot Blockchain. Comparing Bitcoin to Bitcoin ETFs, we can see Bitcoin here in yellow. We can also see that the only thing above it over the past 30 days is BitW, the Bitwise 10 crypto, Underneath it, in order, QBTC, EBIT, BTC, that's the CoinShares physical Bitcoin, BTCX, BTCC, BTCQ, BitC, 21XB, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, Osprey Bitcoin Trust, and coming in last position, Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund. Let's go through the components of the Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund. What we can see here, there are 6 components: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Chainlink. Let's have a look at those. Let's have a look at Bitcoin on the 3-day. We can see this structural once resistance turn to support line down here. We have very major support at around the 40,480 mark, as well as the 38,798 mark. Currently, Bitcoin is trading at 46,000. On Ethereum's price, 34.71. We're looking at very solid support in the 31.23 range and also at 27.42. Turning to Cardano, a major level of support at 2.147. Currently, ADA is trading at 2.426. If we look at Bitcoin Cash, it's currently trading at $666.60. Wow, that's pretty interesting. It has support at $640.90 and $602.70. Litecoin currently trading at $179.20. It has support at $174.10 and $159.60. When I say has support, these are major support levels. For Chainlink, currently trading at $27 even, major support $25.39 as well as $22.05. Let's have a quick look at health issues around the world. It's very promising to note there's been a 9% reduction in the weekly case change. That's fantastic. We're also noticing that a lot of countries are decreasing in terms of cases over the preceding 7 days. Also fantastic. We want to see as many negatives in here. Well, we want to see all of them. But understand this, and this is a really tough thing to look at. The number of cases are still over 1 million. That's a lot of cases. Even though the percentage is decreasing, which of course we want, and that's critically important, we can also see they are really, really large numbers. Perhaps the best way I could explain it, it's not just the absolute measure, the relative measure, it's the combination of both. We want to see these things going towards zero. We can see globally that around 41.13% is fully or partially vaccinated. Let's turn now to the market indexes. Looking across global markets, we can see quite a degree of red across the globe currently. Norway and Russia are doing okay, and some, for example, some indices around Southeast Asia are doing not too badly as well. Jakarta, for example, Indonesia. Let's compare Bitcoin to the major stock market indexes in the US. We can see the Nasdaq came down a little bit. The S&P 500 also came down. There was an increase in fear. I'm measuring this through the inverse VIX, which tends to give us some directional bias for price action movement. We can see the Dow Jones came down. The Russell 2000 also came down. What this segment is all about are early warning systems to be put in place to understand if we should risk off. We've certainly had a really big reduction in price in Bitcoin. Let's look back to the 14th of April and see what happened there. We got a break of the trend line, some upward action, like quite a large sell-off, some upward action. and then it came down, tried to get back. There's a whole lot of more analysis we'll do in the timing video on this, but it's sufficient to note there was negative air above here. If we're getting into a similar situation, we'll keep our eye on things. There is a definite time to de-risk, and it would have been around this area when these trend lines get cut. I'll be guiding you through it every step of the way, saying, okay, look, things are looking good or things are looking bad. Whatever the situation is with the current market action, I won't withhold it. I'll just let you know. That's important because we know always that there's so much volatility inherent in Bitcoin. As it comes down, so many community members have done so well by buying at lower prices. That's what we can get very excited about that. We certainly have to keep our eye on the major indices and the VIX, the fear gauge of the market. Just take a note that the Russell 2000 is very sensitive. We'll be keeping close attention on the Russell 2000 to see what it does. But we also need to look across oil and gold and yields and bonds and so many things. Transportation. It's a long, long list of economic indicators that we have to keep a very close eye on. Let's compare Bitcoin to the DXY, the US dollar currency index. Many economic commentators say that the DXY is like a really large stable coin in Bitcoin or crypto communities. We could say that the DXY increases when there's a flight to safety. But as we can see, when Bitcoin was coming up, the DXY was also coming up. Sometimes when the DXY was going up, Bitcoin came down. If we zoom out and look at the trends, we can see a degree of correlation or association between the two. It's very important not to get sucked in by simplistic formulae. For example, the DXY, it will go up when everybody's scared. Of course, that does happen. Definitely, but to say that it's always the case can make you lose a lot of opportunities. We can see Bitcoin coming down at the moment. We're not saying the DXY is causing this. That is simply not possible. If we zoom out like we did yesterday, you can see so many times the DXY and Bitcoin synchronize and then desynchronize with each other. Rule 17, question required certainty. What this means in this context, if you have a law about any particular thing, just question it. If it's required certainty, it's a very good thing for market manipulators to come in and pull the rug from underneath your feet. Being in the markets for over 30 years, I've seen this time and time again. Laws that the media puts out are broken with regularity. It's really important to question required certainty. Let's compare Bitcoin to precious metals. What we see here, I've inverted the DXY to give you an understanding of the correlation that exists between the inverse of the dollar and precious metals. What we can see, palladium, platinum, silver, gold, copper, have been following around about the inverse of the DXY. We can see them coming down. Copper has a little bit of an uptick at the moment. It's just really interesting to keep your eyes on these patterns. Copper is very economically sensitive. If we saw an enormous sell-off in copper, we would get quite concerned. We're not seeing that right now. If a market crash occurs, looking at treasury bonds is really important to understand their behavior. In the past, the TLT, absolute, that's the 20-year treasury bond, it absolutely increased parabolically. Oh, I can't talk. I'm so excited. Basically, that's an exponential move up, like climbing or getting into a lift. We're not seeing any behavior like that now. that gives us some degree of confidence. If anything, these treasury bonds have actually decreased in price somewhat recently. That's a very good sign. We can see the TLT, the 20 plus year treasury bond, the 7 to 10, the IEF, the 10 to 20, TLH, the 3 to 7, the IEI, and the 1 to 3, the SHY, have all had a minor uptick, but nothing major. In past market cycles, bond yields traditionally fall through the floor. So for example, the 30-year T-bond yield, the TYX, the TNX, and the SHY-G, they all plummeted. We're not seeing anything like that now. These are things that I keep my eye on for you every single day. That's why the trend video is utterly critical to have a look at. When we have a look at Bitcoin compared to inflation expectations, when we get market sell-offs, the 10-year break-even inflation rate and the 5-year break-even inflation rate literally fall through the floor. They just implode downwards. We're not seeing anything like that. In fact, we're seeing the opposite. This is why the trend is so valuable in crypto. Crypto tends to feel it first. And if you know that you've got to keep your eye on a lot of data. That's what we do every day, 7 days a week here. Every trend episode, we go and compare Bitcoin to the airlines and transportation indexes. You can see a large degree of wobble around all of these indexes, including airlines. When there's any particular market problems, they all group together and they move as one, typically in a very sharp downward direction. We're not seeing that synchronization occurring now. We do note that the airlines have and the transportation indexes have come down, but that could be just realistically part of normal price action in this channel. If we see price action for the transportation indexes and airlines falling down through the floor here and all clustering around each other, we need to risk off. It's certainly what I will be doing. That doesn't mean that you need to do it. You may have a different investment strategy, but it's not a bad idea to consider. The other thing to note is the airlines should actually be improving. You can see the airlines in white. It's taken a bit of a hit down. With the health data improving around the world, we would expect airlines to improve. That's not happening right now. That doesn't mean that that's anything to worry about. Markets fluctuate quite wildly sometimes, so we can just say this is just random variability, but we need to keep this in mind. It's really important. Again, I'll be looking at this every day with you. Comparing Bitcoin to Brent and crude oil, what we saw in previous sell-offs, previous global market sell-offs, is basically oil came down first. We're not seeing that so much. We've got a little bit of negative price action here, but these peaks are quite good. In past cycles, when sell-offs occur, oil tends to come down really, really hard. Unfortunately, when oil came down hard, it actually turned negative and just wiped so many people out. We've got to be really careful of oil when there's adverse market actions. What we can see here is crude oil and Brent oil are actually ticking up. They're not ticking down. That is a very positive sign. We'll keep an eye on this like we keep an eye on everything, every single day. The summary is we need to keep our eyes on the market. They're not throwing out any big red flags, but that doesn't really matter. We have to keep a very close watch on how things are going. If I spot anything untoward, I will definitely let you know. Your choice to risk off is absolutely your own, but the most important thing is don't panic. It's really important that we deal with problems when they occur, not before. There is a confluence of things that happens before markets tend to sell off. We're looking for that every single day. We're optimistic about Bitcoin and crypto and of course the stock market's prospects, but that doesn't mean that we just say, okay, everything is fine, it's always going to go up. That is definitely not the case. Because I've been in the markets for over 30 years, I've seen so many crashes. Crashes humble you. I just want to share my many decades of experience with you to point out any potential issues. And if we need to worry about it, I will definitely say, hey everyone, we need to worry about this. I will not hold it back. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others, or if you liked it as well. Thank you to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know if you have any questions. We're a community-based channel, so anything that you would like me to answer, I'm always very, very happy to do so. There's a very beautiful quote from GT Shed. The quote is, "A ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are for." It's like in your own life. We can hide away from things and not risk, but life is risky and nobody gets out alive, so to speak. It's really important that you feel and have the confidence to move forward and boldly into your own life with real wealth. That's the ultimate state of being. We cover that off every day, twice a day in this channel. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube and don't forget to hit the bell notification icon as content comes out at random times through the day and night. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.